But we'll hop into best rap album because that was the perfect segue into it. And like it's almost hard for me to like read this list out loud. And I hate to say it like that intensely, but there are some very big snubs on here that make me disappointed in what was selected. So you have Might Delete Later by J. Cole, which is the biggest travesty to me. The Auditorium by Common and Pete Rock. Alligator Bites Never Heals by Doechii. The Death of Slim Shady by Eminem. And We Don't Trust You by Future and Metro Boomin. I feel wrong to pick a dub out of these choices necessarily because I feel like there are so many great albums that didn't even get a chance to get nominated. So I'm going to start with my snub, which is obviously I wore the shirt for this occasion so I could support it. And to me, the biggest snub is Samurai by Lupe Fiasco, which was an absolutely incredible album, critically acclaimed, universally loved. Everybody that listens to it that I know was like, "Oh, that was so dope." I love hearing Lupe go back to really give us some like jazz rap bars and like the idea of crafting an album based upon if Amy Winehouse was a battle rapper. I mean, we've dissected this album like dozens of times on this podcast, and it should have been here. It should have been here. And Lupe's like to me the it's not like Lupe's never been nominated for a Grammy before, right? Like I'm not talking about Code of the Friend, someone who's someone maybe the Grammys don't really know or hasn't made enough noise in the industry. Every single one of his albums has been nominated until Lupe went independent. Then they stopped getting nominated. And to me, that's almost like a, like almost like record labels being like, well, we don't really want this guy to keep getting nominated because he's not signed anymore or something. And I know it's probably not what it is, but it's like, what other reason could you have? Like Drill Music and Zion, Samurai, all these albums are better than some of his previous works. Lasers was nominated for a Grammy when it came out. But you're telling me Lasers is better than Samurai and Drill Music and Zion? Like, it's not even close. Not even close. And it's like, what's the only difference? Okay, well, Lasers, he was signed to a label, and Drill Music and Zion Samurai, he wasn't, right? And, people might argue that he's like kind of fallen off from the public view of hip hop, but like, I can't think of anyone that's heard the album would agree that it deserves to be here. And same with Ultra 85 by Logic. That album was phenomenal, and I think ended up being my album of the year. And I think I would have chosen Samurai to be best rap album. And the fact that it's not here again, Logic has been nominated for Grammys before. And I don't know if the Grammys felt like they needed to give people with big names their spot, but like Might Delete Later. The album is literally called Might Delete Later. It might not be here on streaming services in a couple of years. And you're going to give it something that gives it an award as a legacy for all time. Like J. Cole, like it's not like it's some like poetic, like deep motion. J. Cole literally titled it Might Delete Later because he's like, I might delete this later. I just feel like I gotta respond to the beef. Now there's a great song on there featuring Absol and Daylight called Pie, and that song is amazing. But this is not best rap song on bad album. This is best
Right.
rap album. Might Delete
And
Later. I love J. Cole, but this is not a good album. And he knows that. And that's why he called it Might Delete Later.
and even the song that would draw you to that album to begin with. Again, not to delve into like reviews of these albums,
Uh-huh.
but 7 Minute Drill is already off of most streaming platforms
Right.
at the time of this. And that was the response that J. Cole had to the beef, the reason that this album came
Came
out
out in the
in
first
the first
place.
place. And it's gone. And in 10 years, this is just going to be looked back at as a really poor decision based on everything else here.
Right.
I
And
think
then
he would regret winning a Grammy for
Yeah.
this.
Oh,
Like when you
right.
think about who he is, it's like, oh, this is how I get it?
I think
Really?
J. Cole would give it back.
Yeah.
that
Or give it to
Like,
Kendrick.
yeah,
that
just be
would
like,
be
here,
that
man.
would be the funniest thing if he actually won and his acceptance speech was, "Why did you guys give me this?"
I literally
I
called it like,
I
and
called it. How much more clear can I be?
it's like this is not like a J. Cole like poetry moment or like secret double entendre. No, it's literally just because he was getting a lot of flack and needing to respond, and he's like, okay, I gotta do something. And then later on, he was like, you know what? I really shouldn't have done anything. And to me, like when I look at these other ones, like the death of Slim Shady, I tried to like it, but it was like Eminem's war on like Gen Z. And I'm like, I don't care about what you feel about woke people and all and whatever. Like there was no like Eminem. He was just like, you can't cancel me. And he basically repeated that 11 times throughout the album. And it was like, okay,
Okay.
that's not a I don't care. I want to hear you rap. Like I don't care about what you feel about them. We Don't Trust You by Future and Metro Boomin. I mean, like, would it even be on here if Kendrick didn't do a guest verse on it? I don't think so. I don't
I
think
feel like
so.
Kendrick is the unmentioned nominee
Right.
for
Because
Yeah.
Best Rap Album
he's
because he
the, yeah.
inspired Might Delete Later, We Don't Trust You, and then Doechii's TDE. So it's like
Hmm.
there's like this whole like
It's like
this
Kendrick Lamar really
background
did
that
win.
yeah.
Yeah. He's
Hmm.
like, I'm so good of a rapper, I can get bad albums nominated for Grammys. That is the
Hmm.
ultimate Kendrick Lamar flex that we have established here. He is so good, he's getting bad albums nominated for Grammys. And like the Auditorium by Common and Pete Rock, like if I had to choose, this one ends up being my dub. Um, because it was very I went to the concert. I like Common, I like Pete Rock, and I thought it was a fine album. I don't necessarily think it was Grammy worthy. Like it kind of feels like trying to recapture like an old not like an old time, but trying to recapture kind of that magic of the 90s. And that's why I wish Samurai was up here because Lupe is like bringing such a fresh perspective to it when he does Samurai. And Logic did the same thing with Ultra 85. Like the Auditorium felt like it should have come out in the 90s. Ultra 85 and Samurai feel like music for today that's referencing and coming from that era. And it's like, to me, these nominations, whoever picked these nominations, I feel like you don't listen to hip hop. Like you can't tell me that you listened to Ultra 85 and Samurai and still went with We Don't Trust You, The Death of Slim Shady, Might Delete Later, and even the Auditorium over them. You can't. You are lying to my face. I'm sorry. So who like whatever got nominated here, it just feels like you don't listen to hip hop. You just listen to the tabloids and you saw, oh, J. Cole responded to Kendrick with Might Delete Later. Gotta put that on there. Oh, We Don't Trust You started the beef with Kendrick and Drake. Gotta put that on there. And then it's just Eminem, so you just put Eminem on there just because. But I think that's the best way I will
Yeah.
sum up this category. Kendrick Lamar is getting he's so good, he's getting bad albums nominated for Grammys.
Yeah. The auditorium feels like the old head pick specifically for old heads. And if Common didn't make it, it wouldn't be up here. And
Yeah.
it's really sad to see that. I think the same thing with Eminem, The Death of Slim Shady. I almost wish there was a traditional rap
We should
category, like
like
what
I
we were
think it's
talking
about time
about
where
with
we can
R and
have
B,
that. Yeah.
because the the range of the options here themselves don't even feel representative of all of rap, and even what's here doesn't even feel like the best if each pick is its own like little subcategory. Um,
Mhm.
but my pick absolutely has to go to Alligator Bites Never Heal by Doechii, which I'm surprised that it's here, of
Mhm.
like considering, the contemporaries that are also up here. Not surprised in its quality, just surprised that above other things that I thought would get more recognition, that Doechii was able to carve out. I think it's a testament to how much work she's done, how much she's kind of blown up this year. And it's a stellar album. Like it's really, really good. I was not familiar with her before this year, and I'm so happy that I've become introduced to her.
Mhm.
She made an instant fan out of me. This album, it is like it's deeply personal, but not like it doesn't feel like pretentious at all. Like she has so much fun, and I feel very thankful. This is one of the things that I'm kind of glad that something like the Grammys exists for, is that it can,
Mhm.
kind of spotlight and highlight artists that you may not have ever heard of. It's why I'm a big fan of the, like, was it the breakout artist of the year or like new artist of
Yeah.
the year category, because I usually end up going and looking at all of those artists like after the Grammys anyway, because I'm so interested to see, okay, yeah, who are some new people like coming out onto the scene. And to see Doechii kind of come and hit the rap album category while making a project that is Like it feels deeply personal at times, and yet she also has so much fun recording it that it almost reminds me of like old rap albums where you would have like five skits interlaced between them. It There's no skits, but it's like she blends that style into her music itself. And so it's a long album, but everything flows so well together, and she's so charismatic on it that it feels exciting to listen to, and it feels better representative of what rap can be to me than the rest of the choices up here. Nothing else here excites me like Alligator Bites Never Heal does. And I always think, okay, this album's really great. Would I want to hear this again? Would I want to hear like a sequel, or this artist to evolve upon this idea later in the future? Of the choices here, it's the only one that has me excited for the future as well. And so she far and away takes that. Although I do want to just shout out, I think if, like, timing wise, if Chromacopia had come out in time to be nominated on this list, that would probably take my pick.
Hmm.
And though I don't think he'll ever get a nomination up here, I do think I Lay Down My Life for You by JPEG Mafia was really great this year. It's not traditional rap. He is very experimental with it, but he's always experimental in a way that is challenging and interesting to listen to. That I wish he got more recognition on a stage like this.
And I do kind of agree with you on that point, like because of the Grammys and because I want to do this series where we like kind of talk about what got snubbed and dubbed on it. I ended up listening to Doechii Volume 4 by Jacob Collier. And I had heard Jacob Collier songs before, and I was kind of one of those people that's like, he kind of does too much. I'm not really a huge like Jacob Collier fan, but I always respected what he does because like as a jazz musician, I know what it's like to kind of go. It's like the intellectual side of music, almost. It feels like having weird chord progressions and like sevenths and ninths that don't really seem like it makes sense, but somehow it still works instead of just the normal like 1 5 6 4 chord progression. Um, but I ended up loving that album, and there's a lot of really great songs on it, and like those are songs that I'm going to continue to listen to. So the Grammys did help in that way. So I won't just like trash them for this travesty of a of nominations on there and on here. But um, oh, I because I know there's a lot of emotion I just exhibited, but as you could probably tell, the nominations or specific lack of certain nominations compared to other ones really kind of got under my skin. And I think, like, for me, this is the only category where I'm disappointed in what got nominated over what didn't. Like, other times when there are snubs, I can kind of understand why they're snubbed. This is the only category where I'm like, there's no explanation that would satisfy me. But anyway, moving on to Friday. Do you have any snubs and dubs for Best Rap Album?
Best rap album? I don't think I have any snubs. I'm trying to think about it. Um, I don't think I have any snubs. What I would say is I hope it's Doechii. Um, I was gonna say I think it's Doechii. I hope it's Doechii, but very similar to what Ty mentioned. It's like it's the one person where you're excited about what else is to come. I think that the project was really, produced very well. The content that I've seen from her is really how much she's poured into her craft, the performances that she's done, right? She is taking the, what I would say, like the TDE mastery and really embracing that. And I think that that's why she's the first female rapper signed to TDE. There is a reason why she is being included amongst that elk of artists. So I think this is like one of those really cool things where it represents her area. I think that's another reason that she probably aligns really well with TDE. They do a great job of taking who they are and making that so artistic that it becomes relatable. Like it's never, oh yeah, everybody just grew up in this area, right? No, we didn't grow up in LA. I didn't. Like I don't
Hmm.
know all of the dances they're doing, but they make all of these things so culturally relevant because they're able to express their experience with such clarity and with such artistry that it connects to people um, in such a deep way. So I love that, she's from Tampa. She's representing, where she's from and what she's doing. But again, even the label alignment, I think is going to see some crazy things from her in the future. I don't know if you
Hmm.
saw her, I think it was SNL performance. Her tiny desk was beautiful.
Mhm.
So you're starting to see that she is an artist, and I love that. I
Mhm.
love being
Mhm.
able to see people who are pushing the genre. And I think, shoot, out the gate, we get a Grammy. Why not? Why not? Go ahead. Let's see what happens after.
I mean,
Right, especially for how early she is in her career. Like it feels like she hasn't even like truly started yet. It's like she just turned the ignition on to
Yep.
what is something
In her
powerful. And
Nissan
she's
Altima.
in her Nissan Altima. And she's already like this like refined. Like it feels, it's crazy to me to think that she's about my age and yet she has such this like a clear identity for herself and the kind of art that she wants to make and how like clearly that comes across in the music that she makes. Like it really feel like I feel listening to it, I'm getting to know the person a bit. And then when I go back and like I'll watch interviews with her or like things like more intimate settings like the Tiny Desk performance, which was really great. It feels so like validating because I'm like, yeah, I totally see that based on the music you made. There's this level of authenticity to everything that she's doing. And again, bringing it back to everything that it compares to, I got nowhere even close to that messaging or that intimacy or even that like integrity or that idea of trying to make something so authentic. I didn't get that from any of the other choices here. And so whether or not whether or not she gets it for her own credence, which I think she should, or not, I think she should get it for what her album represents here above the other choices. That
Yeah.
kind of like authentic artistic representation just shines brightest from Doechii this year.
Yeah.
and I didn't know that she was TDE until this conversation. So, that's good company to be in because Absol is
Mhm.
one of my favorite rappers. I think one of the most lyrical rappers, guys, around that time. So hopefully, they'll get to do something together soon. Um, and I think like if I had to predict who's going to win, I would say I think We Don't Trust You is probably going to end up winning, which is not going to make me happy. Uh, but if I could just like guess, I think that's probably what's going to happen. And I think they're going to do it based upon, well, like that by Kendrick, is probably going to, like, I
Mhm.
think Kendrick is going to sweep all these other categories. Like, I think,
Yeah,
Not Like Us is going to win. Like, I don't think there's any way it's not going to win rap performance and best rap song. And I think because of it, because of like that, I think We Don't Trust You is going to win best rap album, even though I do not find it to be deserving of it. So yeah, we can all pretty much agree that Might Delete Later and Eminem could both be replaced with Samurai and Ultra 85, at least, or replace We Don't Trust. Just
I'm
only
fine
have
with
four
that.
categories. Yeah, like that works for
I'm
me.
fine with that.